says that Pegler charged Spaniel with spreading pro-communist and pro-Russian propaganda in a full-page advertisement in the news. Spaniel then retaliated with a lawsuit of libel, suing King Features Syndicated Incorporated for $6 million, alleging the column to have been libelous. And then Bergstrom stated that Fitzgerald too had met Spaniel, and personal acquaintance formed an opinion that Spaniel was definitely communist and financial supporter of the Communist Party. Bergstrom stated that Spaniel was born in Russia but is now an American citizen. He charged that Spaniel was exerted tremendous political influence in Washington, D.C., and said that his closest political friend was Henry Wallace. I'm not familiar with that name, but it sounds really familiar. I'll have to look that up some other time. And I'm going to try to skip through some of this here. And it says that the Army intelligence wasn't sure about any of this. FBI wasn't sure about any of this. And then it says the FBI, what does the FBI know about this Bergstrom guy that's talking about everybody, right? Accusing everybody of everything. He was born July 3rd, 1912 in Colorado, unmarried. Family resides in Wichita, Kansas. Had been an employee of WWII. I don't know. Those letters are so bad. From March 1943 until January 1945. He's stationed in China, attached to General Stilwell's headquarters, and was in charge of physiological warfare department. That is extremely suspicious. So this guy, Bergstresser, was in China for several years, working at the physiological warfare department, and then comes back and is alleging everybody, all of these people, to be bad accomplices or whatever, bad actors. I find that to be extremely suspicious. And the fact that he would be trained in physiological warfare, he would know how to create all of these ploys and narratives to do whatever he wanted to these people. So that's really, really interesting. And it says that he had ample funds to travel all over the country in reputable hotels, which is pretty suspicious. Washington, West Coast, and had personal favor of the general's wife. Oh. We advise that it is his desire to cooperate with Fitzgerald in securing legal position of Tesla's effects in order that a memorial foundation may be established for the protection of Tesla's experiments for the preservation of the inventor's memory. So this guy, trained in physiological warfare, again, he's like, let's come up with an idea to legally take all of Tesla's possessions under the guise of preserving the inventor's memory, which none of this stuff was ever preserved. So he just literally came up with this to steal all of his stuff. This is how I don't have a good feeling about some of these people. Bergstresser stated that Fitzgerald had interested a group of Army scientists now working with him at Wright Field in his foundation, and their ultimate goal is to secure the support of a wealthy backer in their foundation to be able to establish and sort an idea factory. He said that they intended to contact Henry Ford to solicit his aid in this regard. So, if Bergstresser was a bad actor and he was a bad guy, him contacting Henry Ford makes things even more interesting, because Henry Ford was working with the Nazis. So, is it possible that this Bergstresser guy, who is accusing everybody of everything, was possibly a double agent himself as well? It seems like there is multiple double agents all working against each other. It's just a hodgepodge of an espionage and murder and greed and deception from the moment before Tesla's body was even cold. There was so much foul play and strangeness regarding this. It's ridiculous. And I feel bad for Tesla, because he seemed like he was just trying to be honest and show everybody the truth, and that's kind of what got him in trouble and what made it to where nobody would work with him. So It's pretty weird. Uh, what it makes me think of is those like cartoon, like the old Scooby-Doo cartoon of all the bad guys running in between the different doors and the yakety sax playing. That's kind of what I imagine right here is with all of these spies like going next to each other within the few hours of each other. So yeah, but it says that Bergstrom related that probably the greatest idea of Tesla was involving the wireless transmission of electrical power. He claimed that Tesla had performed a successful experiment many years ago at Pikes Peak, at which time he harnessed local current from the sun's rays, which he built up into a huge potential of electrical energy. Bergstresser said that, according to Fitzgerald, if this idea could be furthered, all electrical energy to operate the world's machinery might be gotten absolutely free rather than by the costly method by which electrical engineer is presently generated. He said that his idea was to conduct further experiments along this line in China, where the need for electrical power is very great. This is again extremely interesting. That I've never heard the link of Tesla's technology going to China, where the power need was very great. Because once again, China was on our side at this point. So in a different universe, somewhere, parallel universe type of thing, China and America could have come out of World War II very close allies with abundant power, and the Cold War probably would have never had happened. So extremely interesting. The thing is that the people in charge of America, at least certain factions of America, you can't even say like all, because that's too black and white to just say like the leaders of America. Some of the factions of the leaders of America, the majority leading factions, did not want free energy for the earth. They wanted to continue to charge people money. That was like the whole deal here. So, very interesting. Here we have 75 packing cases and trunks presently under seal in the New York State Department of Taxation, listed as the agent for Sava Kasanovich. So again, Kasanovich even got the 75 packing trunks and stuff over there. And that inquiry was made at the Office of Alien Property Custodian in New York City concerning an investigation conducted by the office of the time of Tesla's death, at which the latter property was placed under seal of the United States government. Mr. Walter Conserver, chief investigator for Alien Property Custodian, provided a cover letter and a summary of materials owned by Tesla at the time of his death, which was examined by John G. Trump of the Office of Scientific Research, and I can't read that word. Mr. Kasu also stated that his file in this matter reflected on the night Tesla died, his safe was forced open by representatives of Schorf and Walker Safe Company. It was Mr. Kishjuzu's belief that Mr. Sweezy, who is believed to be one of the editors of Popular Science magazine, was present in Tesla's room shortly after the safe was opened. These individuals were Willis Cooge, Edward Palmer, and John J. Corbett. So this is 3 new names of people that came into his office either as soon as he died, before he died, or after he died, within like the few hours, basically as he's dying, I would say, that they were in the office and that they had typewritten copies of Mr. Trump of the Alien Property Custodian reflecting findings of Mr. Trump following his examination of Tesla's effects. There's also enclosed herewith a photostatic copy of a list of persons associated with Nikola Tesla. The latter item was furnished by Mr. Bergstrom. And it says that it's understood that Dr. Tesla was well versed in a particular field of investigations under study of Army Air Force, and it is believed that the data from this estate may assist us further, and that is Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. So here we have the Air Force have entered the picture. So far we have Army, Air Force. Didn't we have Navy earlier? So that's everybody. And then we had the Nazis, and then we had the Soviets. So that's 4 or 5 factions already right there. And I found it also interesting that them saying that they had these military people come in and to the trunks and cases and stuff and all of the stuff in his office before the alien property custodian people were able to look at it. So it sounds like either, I'm pretty sure it was the Air Force comes in and takes everything before anybody really was aware of it. October 26th. This is Director of the FBI. Another espionage document. October 31st, 1945. On October 26th, 1945, Private Blois Fitzgerald, who is mentioned in the reference letter, called a person in New York together with Private David W. Pratt, Herbert O. Shute, and Lieutenant R.E. Newlay, all of a research development unit at Wright Field, Dayton, Ohio. These men carried a letter signed by Brigadier General L.C. Courageous, Chief Engineering Division, Wright Field, requesting the assistance of the office and allowing the bearers of the letter access to the effects of Nikola Tesla. Wow. So this is a research division of Wright-Patterson having full access to Nikola Tesla's stuff. It was explained to Private Fitzgerald and his associates that his office had no jurisdiction over Tesla's effect, and Fitzgerald was referred to the Office of Alien Property Custodian, which made a very thorough investigation following the following inventor's death. So they told Fitzgerald he's not allowed to see it. The Wright-Patterson sent people to go and see it, and the people owning it, the Alien Custodian Command, told him, you're not allowed to see this stuff. So this is kind of like what we see in Congress today of different representatives with different types of groups or whatever not being allowed information or to see specific stuff. There's different factions at play even today. And we can see that all the way back then, that there was different factions at play. So for the Bureau's information, Private Fitzgerald and his associates stated the Army believes Tesla's death ray to be the only possible defense against the atomic bomb. They feel the secret of the death ray lies among Tesla's effects, which occupy several trunks in Manhattan Storage Warehouse, New York City. It will be recalled that prior to Tesla's death, Fitzgerald, who is reported to be a brilliant young scientist, was taken by Tesla as his protege. The office is conducting no investigation on this matter. Such a weird way to end it. But, so even the Army is saying, hey, we really, really need this. This is the only way we can defend ourselves. And this is 1945, October 31st. It's very interesting. And scrolling down some more, says Tesla's papers were left in Manhattan store. They actually, there's a typo. They have it as Pesla with a P instead of Tesla. Pesla advised that the FBI had made microfilms of all the papers. And Kasanovich requested if the FBI had done so, could it be possible that he get copies of the microfilms? And then Kasanovich had been told that there most likely would not was not microfilms ever made. So then who made the microfilms, right? Maybe the Navy guys, since the Army, Air Force, doesn't have it, and the FBI doesn't have it. It seems like it was the Navy, who the Navy have a very strange long history with all of this stuff as well. And then it says April 7th, 1950, agents of the office interviewed Mr. J.V. Potts, vice president of Manhattan Warehouse. His firm required that all persons gaining access to goods in Manhattan had to fill out appropriate forms setting forth their names, date, and visit. So yeah, they're making them do this because people were just showing up and taking stuff, I'm pretty sure. Why else would you make everybody do documentation like that? And there had been only one visit made of persons outside the management of Manhattan storage, and that was January 26th and 27th, which time representatives of Alien Property Custodian made a thorough review of the entire effects of Tesla's estate. Tesla's effects are stored in rooms 5J and 5L of Manhattan's storage warehouse. At this address, Mr. Michael King, who stated he had a floor supervisory for 10 years on the floor, said he could only recall one occasion in early 1943 which an examination was made of Tesla's effects. He stated that at the time, numerous photographs were taken of the examiners. So he's testifying people took pictures of the stuff, where the FBI saying, we don't have any pictures. His description of the equipment used would be tend to show that a microfilm reproduction was made of some of the papers of the deceased scientists. King added that several of the group making the examination wore U.S. Navy uniforms, and during the 2 days it required the complete examination of civilian assistants in the group were identified to him only as federal authorities. According to Mr. King, no other instance of microfilming the records estate had been placed since that time. So who knows if they really were Navy people, but the fact they came in wearing U.S. Navy uniforms and wouldn't identify themselves as anything other than federal authorities is suspicious as hell. So there was definitely... These might be even more double agents. This might be the third set of double agents, as these people come in U.S. Navy uniforms and taking pictures and then leaving. And then allegedly nobody having the pictures. So who were they? Were they Soviet spies? Were they Nazi spies? Corporate spies? Navy spies? Seems like the Navy and the Air Force are not cooperating, even today, on this topic. And that they may have totally different types of information. So that kind of is reflective of that. So Mr. Potts stated that no inquiry had been received, Mr. Hatton, from Sava and Kasanovich, nor had Manhattan informed him in any way that an examination of Tesla had been made by anyone. In fact, Mr. Potts' only correspondence related to Tesla estate had seen in the form of bills or storage. So here he's saying that even this Kasanovich guy had not received anything. Even though in the earlier stuff, it said that Kasanovich was the one that got all of it. Unless I'm misreading that somehow. And then it says the FBI tells him just to stop looking at all this stuff. And that we have it. And that they're closing it. That was like the end of that. They're closing it. And so we'll scroll down a little bit more. This is from 1951. Still on the same case file. Experiments and research of Nikola Tesla. Espionage. M-class. Abraham Spaniel used to be with the International Latex Corporation. And that allegedly Spaniel had Communist Party sympathies, of which these complaints came from Ralph Bergstrom. We already have heard that. Allegedly, Spaniel was trying to get a hold of papers for sinister purposes, according to Bergstrom. And NYO contacted the alien enemy custodian and found that they had submitted Tesla papers to MIT, and representatives of MIT had furnished them with information they found no information would be helpful. So that's really weird that MIT said they didn't find anything. And here we have with Bergstresser sending letters to Joseph McCarthy regarding this Spaniel guy, and that the FBI was stopped from a higher level from investigating some of these things, and it would commit too much of themselves. So I found that to also be extremely interesting, and that even Mr. Heinrich said Senator McCarthy turned this material over to the FBI in June or July, but nothing was done about it. So even you have one of the senators who's the most like rabid anti-communist guy who really affected all of America's mental health for like a decade or two. I would say extremely negatively. Really, really set back America. That this guy was trying to get the FBI to go attack, and that they were being held back. And this is, again, in a time period where the FBI was pretty much unhinged in their most diabolical states. So who is holding the FBI back from going after these people? And it makes you wonder, again, of like, who's in charge of what? Because allegedly with Operation Paperclip, we had all of these Nazi scientists that we came and put in charge of our corporations, our schools, our space programs, our military, NATO. Was like a bunch of Nazi people got put in charge of NATO. So it seems like the Nazis got into power, and the Nazis are then telling the FBI to stop investigating. That would be my position on this. Probably not a popular one, though. But, and it says Tesla had died working on death rays, and that the material from the papers, death ray could be developed, and that alien enemy custodian sees them all. Let me scroll through some more here. And that Mr. Rath recalls he left the FBI in 1946. This is like an FBI guy. And that he left the FBI and resigned. And that even after he resigned, this Bergstrom guy telephonically communicated to him at his place of business. He could offer no explanation how Bergstresser knew where he was employed. At that time, Bergstresser was asking if the FBI was doing anything about the reported complaints. And he said, I have no idea. Stop calling me. I'm not working with the FBI anymore. So that's pretty creepy that this Bergstresser guy was able to find Mr. Rath, and even after he left the FBI, he's like chasing down the feds and asking them, hey, what are you going to do about this? Once again, it shows that I would say that there's different factions at play here. He obviously is some sort of double agent. Who knows for who? He received calls from several persons, particularly confidential sources he had developed with him, left his home phone to make inquiries or to give him information. In all instances, he referred them to the New York office of the FBI, and that Bergstresser did not furnish any information to the office in April of 1945, which he alleged. So that's really weird too, that he's saying he gave the FBI stuff but actually didn't. And he actually came to the office in 6/9/45 and 9/27/45. And that the FBI said that he had no records or even started an investigation of Spaniel. And yeah, so very strange. And again, they have some more people telling Bergstresser to stop calling people. And that here we have Mr. Rath states he did not discuss the merits of this case in any way during the last telephone conversation with Bergstresser, and hence he is positive that he never made any statements that there is no hope left or that the last hope was Congress. Which, what is he talking about with the last hope? You remember with Margaret Storm at the beginning of these documents, it talking about her saying that the hope for humanity was like for people to stop fighting. And here they have them saying that, hey, I didn't say there was no hope left or that our only hope was in Congress. So what are they talking about with the hope? Hope for what? because this is just like a random. This is the smallest little random document. This is just a random little like paragraph saying, I didn't tell him there was no hope. Very strange. So more information, another document from director of FBI. This is 1957, that a person named Savo stated that a woman named Miss Margaret Storm lives with her husband John at Colonial Hotel, 51 West Street, New York, has been issuing newsletters which contain information pertaining to flying saucers and interplanetary matters. Savo stated that his opinion on Mr. and Mrs. Storm are exploiting the reputation and genius of Nikola Tesla, the deceased inventor of Yugoslavian extraction, who achieved worldwide fame as a result of his inventions. So he's saying that these Mr. Margaret Storm people are just riding on Tesla's coattails and they're not actually legit, which could be true. I mean, I don't know. But Tesla's only military invention was a method to which he could, once alluded but never fully described, the wall of force, and disclosed the existence of his plan in 1943 at the Geneva Conference. And this is like citing the newspaper clipping that I read earlier. And scrolling through it. Yeah, that looks like it's it. So we've done it, guys. We've just finished 64 pages of FBI documents. I hope that you stuck into the end here. I know that was a whole lot. I think that this might be like 2 hours or something like that, or coming up on 2 hours. So I'll probably divide it into a 4-part episode. And this is just like the groundwork, laying out the groundwork so that we can talk some more about this sort of stuff in the future. I don't want to give too much away, but we will talk some more about this stuff, but not in specifics, but like just in generalities and conceptual. So now you have a really good understanding of some of the designs that Tesla was working on right before he died. Don't you find it extremely suspicious that as soon as he completed and perfected his wireless technology, that he ended up being killed? And then there's these different sets of people that come and break into his stuff multiple times, and to where they don't even know like who's going there and who's not, so they start having them fill out paperwork. I mean, that's pretty desperate, in my opinion, when you start having people fill out forms because you can't stop from all the people from coming in there. I would consider that to be very desperate. And you hear the FBI files describing his work, right? His wireless technology, and how, this isn't possible, that's not possible. Well, go back and listen to the Lunar Railroad episode, because what we just described here and read here is exactly in that Lunar Railroad episode. So yeah, I'm gonna take a rest. My throat hurts from talking for like 3 hours straight. I think maybe even more. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna talk some more about this sort of stuff in the future. And just hold on, because we're gonna have some more stuff. So I hope that you enjoyed it. It's definitely thought-provoking, and it's strange how all these different factions, like the Army and the Navy and Air Force and FBI and CIA, not working together, seems really, really, really strange, and kind of gives a lot more clarity to the factions fighting it out today. So, adios. Be safe out there.